sale of geo bonds. And Lindsay is on Zoom if there's questions about that. Item E is Scott here. Yeah, he is. Item E is a conditional use for an event center in the county and a waiver of supplementary use of regulation. Scott, I didn't get a chance to talk to you before the meeting. Can you come up and have a chair? Any contestment to this, or what can commission expect on Wednesday as far as the operation part of the meeting?
Yeah, Scott Wadle from the planning department. From my perspective, I don't see this as being a really controversial case. The only reason why it's being presented non-consent is because there's a difference in recommendations from the CAB and the planning commission. The planning commission delved into it and is actually recommending waiving one of the conditions that would normally apply and modified another condition that was recommended by staff. And that was really after a conversation that took place at the planning commission about what the owner's needs are for the property and how they operate it. Folks at the planning commission meeting had really good, actually very positive things to say about the operator and how it functions. So I don't anticipate this being a controversial one.
Very good. Thank you for that.
And you might as well stay there, Scott. Item F is it's the commission action of the discussion we had at staff last week regarding the use of the park for the event this summer with Dam Jam.
Okay.
We will have, and I know it's being worked on currently, the finalization of the contract language. So Tim will present that and Justin will assist him with that. And we will present you with the contract as written. And the commission can adopt it, deny it, or want modification to the contract. That's how I envision that going.
Yes, I was just going to comment that the contract draft, I believe, is in the agenda and is finalized. So that draft is already
right.
Good.
We did talk to the promoter and we added a couple of restrictions based on conversations that we had this week. And so we've asked them to limit ticket sales at 9,000 and to end alcohol sales at 11:30 p.m. each night. So those are new additions to the contract.
Thank you.
And I think, Tim, when you present that, you'll hit the highlights of that in the public meeting, so we know. Okay. Item G is an item that was on bid board, I think a couple of weeks ago now. It was on the vaccination piece. And I think Adrian has sent you all some information. And I know there's been discussion as well. So that's coming back, and Joe will present that as item G before he rolls into item H, which is his regular bid board items. Consent is fairly straightforward. Item I is a contract for services with Pixis. And they provide services for youth experiencing severe emotional disturbance, and it's a contract with ComCare. And then J, K, and L are the ones I pulled last week on the salary agreements with people in professional people in ComCare. So that's coming back again. I think we had conversation with Commissioner House. That's some question. I think we got him on board. I mean, I guess we'll see how he votes, but item M is a salary exception request for county councilor, which I know Justin briefed you all on. That's the consent item. Let's cover that. And we have one policy under item N that Sheena has drafted for approval, and that will be under the fire agenda too. We do have a fire agenda, and that is the only new business item under the fire agenda. Other than that's routine business on this draft, and I think on fire agenda, it is just that one policy. That was it.
Okay. Any executive session? Do we know? Thank you, Justin. We are anticipating some direction from the state on a few matters pertaining to the hospital in particular. Is this a conversation that we are going to need to go into executive session? Are you anticipating that, or should we? I guess we are anticipating something, hopefully even today. So,
are you speaking in terms of
correct?
For property,
correct.
We do not have any information. So I don't know what's anticipated. waiting to pay for it.
I think there's some anticipation from the commission that we want to make some decisions rather quickly and get that publicly so we can get things going. Are we expecting that maybe if this delays into next week, that we might need a special meeting to do some of these things? Or what is your thought process on this?
Wait, no.
I was just gonna note that I don't believe there's a meeting slated for January 31st.
Right.
Is that correct? Or they're not?
That's correct, yeah.
So, I mean, some of it may depend on what, like Tanya was saying, what we hear back from the state and then what the will of staff and the board is. But I think at this point, we're kind of waiting to get more information.
And the only other thing I'd comment on there is, and Tanya's in daily contact almost with Scott and the state. And without getting into the details of the sites, because there's ARPA money attached to this. I think it's important to remember that this still is state money. It is going to be a state function. And we have to respect the state to some degree to give this due diligence and bring it back. We had talked about, Justin and I talked about this morning, alternatives to that. And right now we don't see any other than for Tanya just to maintain communication and try to keep us moving forward on this. So if it comes to that, Commissioner, I think we'll visit with you offline and go into executive session and have that discussion.
I think that's reasonable. And I think we do want to give the state enough time to make the necessary decision. It's a big decision. And I think it's very important that they understand that we respect that time. There is a pressure because of ARPA dollars on the timing, and we want to be able to communicate to our constituents in this community as quick as we can. So the balancing act of making sure they know that, hey, we understand the need to take time, and we're supportive of that with also wanting to communicate, I think is important. So just keep us posted, and everyone's in anticipation of moving this thing forward. Okay. Anything else? Nothing? Okay, just me and you, bud.
Yep. Let's get something done.
There you go. I believe we're done. Everybody have a great weekend.